It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're up dead early on another fantastic Friday, and we're so happy that you're up to join us. My name is Mark Daniels.
And I'm Gabrielle Gardner, wishing a happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday, everybody. This Friday feels very special. It feels like there's a lot of things happening. We got the holiday coming up. We got weather about to roll in. There's lots of events. But most importantly for me, my wife and I celebrate our 10th anniversary. So 10 years ago on this day, we were having ourselves a lovely garden wedding with all of our family and friends who we love and appreciate and support us as our village. And so, Paige, thank you for choosing me, making me a happy man. I'm a lucky man and looking forward to the next 100 years. You can't get rid of me.
Hey. Oh, I love that. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe that's why I'm feeling good.
And you're all dressed up today.
All dressed up.
We were asking around the studio what's going on. Now we know. You have big plans.
So yeah, exciting weekend. What about you? What you got planned?
You know, I am supposed to host a special retreat this weekend on one of the family islands. I'm a little nervous about flying out because I'm supposed to fly out tomorrow. So I think I'm going to have to revisit those plans in light of the weather.
I think just stand out on Saunders Beach with an umbrella and just
I'll get carried.
Let the wind carry you, right?
You know, that's not on my bucket list of things to do. But what you should put on your bucket list is to provide support. The Children's Emergency Hostel needs your help with general perishable and non-perishable monetary donations. And your assistance with this matter would be greatly appreciated.
Greatly appreciated. A little bit goes a long way. Support the thing. I mean, man, everybody needs help at some point, and your help is needed, and we appreciate that. Or don't watch our show no more. We love y'all. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. We got a great show coming up for you. With the president of NACAC is here to discuss that organization and the significance of the upcoming World Relays. We're also going to be talking to Karlos, Mackey, and he's here to discuss the National Insurance Board's upcoming rate increase in our economic pulsing.
Dr. Gemma Rolle is here to discuss National Colorectal Awareness Month, and we'll be hearing about Doctors Hospital's grand opening for their newest location. TCL invites you to attend the 12th annual Eleuthera and Harbor Island Business Outlook, Thursday, April 18th, and Friday, April 19th. Check out our website, tclevents.com, for more information and to register for the conference. Now, let's check on weather with Godfrey Burnside.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Gabrielle, and good morning, Bahamas, and happy anniversary too, my dear friend, Mr. Daniels, and your lovely wife. Your first look at weather at sunrise, we do have an approaching area of low pressure with a trailing frontal boundary that will impact the weather across the island starting late this evening across Grand Bahama and Bimini into Abaco by late evening to nighttime hours, New Providence early morning with some showers and thunderstorms and also some strong gusty winds that should move into central Bahamas sometime by Saturday evening into the nighttime hours, Southeastern Islands late Sunday into Monday. But today, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds as we start, breezy and warm, but expect increasing cloudiness, showers and thunderstorms, some strong gusty winds across Bimini, Grand Bahama and Abaco as that system approaches, and those showers start to cover that island over the late evening hours into nighttime hours, and then moving in central Bahamas, your high temperature reaching 86. Tonight, we're looking at cloudy to overcast skies with widespread showers and thunderstorms. Some of those showers heavier times or thunderstorms severe times with strong gusty winds. The possibility of some tornadic activity could occur in those systems as it moves across the northwest into the central Bahamas during the nighttime into tomorrow across the islands. So most activity tomorrow should be canceled. Your low temperature going down to 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 88 and 78. Across Jamaica 1973. Trinidad 1977, and the Taken Islands 82 and 71. Across North America, Atlanta 66 and 56, in Boston 54 and 40, in Miami 83 and 72, Dallas, Texas 69 and 48, and Toronto, Canada 45 and 42. As we go to the weekend, we expect a wet Saturday in store weather-wise with some severe activity, but we expect some improvement late night across the northwest Bahamas, but moving into the central Bahamas on Saturday night into sunset Sunday morning. So we do expect soak out on tomorrow, but we do expect some improvement on Sunday as you have that Palm Sunday March. We expect that Palm Sunday March to happen over the northwest Bahamas. And then we have the partly sunny skies to remain in the early part of the week. The temperature daytime will be in the upper 70s, low 80s daytime, at nighttime in the upper 60s. That pressure up in your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Gabrielle.
Thanks, Godfrey. March is National Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and the goal of this month is to help educate people about the risk of colorectal cancer and the benefits of early detection. Here to discuss this with us is Dr. Gemma Rolle, gastroenterologist at Bahamas Digestive Health and Wellness. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, what are some of the risk factors associated with colon cancer, and how do you assess your personal risk?
Good question. Colon cancer, bearing in mind it's the third most common cancer here in the Bahamas, second in the U.S. Risk factors for colon cancer would be risks that you either inherit or you develop over time. If cancer runs in the family, any GI cancers or colon cancer itself, that increases your risk. Certain habits like smoking and drinking alcohol. Obesity is also a risk factor. Having a sedentary lifestyle, not enough exercise or activity. Your diet plays a role. Diets that are high in processed meat and other foods puts you at risk. And not being screened for colon cancer could increase your risk of colon cancer.
Speaking of screening, what kind of tests are available, and at what point should someone start getting screened regularly?
So screening for colon cancer starts at the age of 45. You don't have to have any symptoms or signs of anything, but because you've reached that milestone of 45 years old, it's time to start getting screened. You may, in discussion with your physician, you may opt to do a stool test annually, testing for microscopic blood in the stool, or you can do a colonoscopy, which is something that I typically would advocate for because a colonoscopy can prevent colon cancer as well as screen for it. Colon cancer starts off as small polyps, which are growths in the colon, that if the polyps aren't removed, they can grow into a cancer. So when you have a colonoscopy, the goal is to remove these polyps, hence removing your risk of colon cancer. But there's also something called a CT colonography, which is a CT scan essentially. Some may know it as a virtual colonoscopy or 3D colonoscopy. There's tests such as Cologuard, where we're testing for DNA from colon cancer in the stool. And there are other alternatives, but the main ones would be a stool test, a virtual colonoscopy, or an optical colonoscopy.
You talked about some of the things that can increase your risk, but what about things that can decrease your risk? What are some things that you can do to hopefully stay colon cancer free?
So one thing that we know for sure, that the incidence or prevalence of colon cancer has decreased significantly with colonoscopy. Okay, certainly getting screened for colon cancer will decrease your risk of developing colon cancer. Living a healthy lifestyle, for sure. A diet that's high in fiber, fruits and vegetables, and natural foods, staying healthy overall, as obesity, diabetes, these are conditions that may increase your risk. So an overall healthy lifestyle is recommended, but definitely you must be screened. Even though you may not know about your family history of having colon cancer or colon polyps, you have to take a look by some way, shape, or form. That is the best way to decrease your risk of colon cancer. And if you have a family history of colon cancer, the recommendation is that you get screened at the age 10 years prior to the age of your relative's diagnosis. So if you have a first-degree relative, that's a parent, a sibling, you would, if they were diagnosed at the age of 45, you would have your colonoscopy at 35 years old. That's if you have that family history of colon cancer.
You know, speaking to those younger screenings, there has been, and there's a whole, I want to say, not fake, but I guess self-imposed medical grouping on Instagram. And there's been a lot of chatter about, you know, just instances of colorectal cancer in younger patients as a new trend. And so there have been, you know, people advocating, like you said, as young as 30, 35 to go and get those screenings. Beyond screenings, what are some warning signs that people should look out for that could point to colon cancer?
So symptoms or signs of colon cancer would be abdominal pain that's unexplained, finding blood in the stool. Rectal bleeding is never normal. Having a change in bowel habits, that can be with constipation or having difficulty having a pass, or even diarrhea. You may feel fatigued, feel tired all the time, and that's because perhaps you have a tumor that's bleeding slowly and you're anemic, not enough blood circulating. So patients may feel fatigue. Weight loss, but that pretty much happens in advanced cases. But the one thing to bear in mind is that I think the most common symptom is to not have any at all, right? You don't need to have any symptoms of colon cancer to have colon cancer.
Well, I mean, you kind of touched on this, but again, for those people who may have had a loved one, a relative affected, of course, you mentioned going 10 years early. Are there any other things that they can do to just mitigate that risk?
Well, I encourage patients to see their physician at least annually, right? So that we can catch things that, unbeknownst to us, may be happening. You get your blood test done on an annual basis so that you can compare one year to the next. Being in tune with your body, knowing when something just isn't right. I think that maybe it's in our culture or just human nature to find a reason internally why something is happening. I have gas, or maybe it's something that I ate, and then we self-medicate or self-remedy. So I would say at least having a relationship with your healthcare provider, your physician, see them annually, and try your best to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. You know, for somebody who may wind up with a diagnosis, have there been any recent advancements as it relates to treatment that, you know, can still create a hopeful outlook for them?
Definitely. Now, we're talking about once a patient is diagnosed with colon cancer. So treatments vary based on the stage. So let's say someone has a stage 4 colon cancer, which pretty much means that the cancer has spread to a distant organ. The advancements would be in terms of chemotherapy or something called immunotherapy, where the tumor cells are targeted by either your immune system versus drugs that attack all cells. So surely there's been advancements in terms of advanced colon cancer. Of course, the treatment modalities for cancer, again, varies by stage. So if you have a tumor that is just limited to the bowel, you cut that out and you're essentially cured, but we monitor you. You have surveillance that's pretty regular, at least for the next 5 to 10 years before we can say that you're out of the woods per se. So certainly there's been advancements.
And if somebody wants to get in touch with you, they've heard what you said, they want to get on top of their health during this Colon Cancer Awareness Month, how do they get into contact with you?
They can just call my office. I have an office cell. We're on WhatsApp. I haven't really made it out to social media yet, but my office cell number is 425-0440. The office number is 326-4424 or 5. And I like to talk, so call me up and we can chat.
Absolutely. Well, now people have no excuse but to get on top of their health and make sure they can live well for a long time. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Meet Leno, your bridge to the future. Wealth planning, investments, corporate services, trust services, pension administration, fund administration, outsourced accounting, and payroll. When you think of financial solutions, think of Leno. Local or international, company or individual, Leno can help. Our team of skilled professionals has the experience and expertise needed for you to strive. Your goals are our goals and our priority. Leno will guide you to the right financial solution with the knowledge, resources, and support you need. Give us a call at 242-396-3225 or email us at info@lenobahamas.com to get started. Visit our website, www.lenobahamas.com, for more information today. Leno, your bridge to the future.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
Focal Holdings Limited is proud of its consistent growth and the financial success it continues to bring to many Bahamians who invest in the company. Focal is committed to ensuring optimal financial performance for its shareholders. Focal's leadership remains focused on superior customer service and operational excellence across all sectors. Focal, fueling growth for people. Secure your spot at the new Eleuthera and Harbor Island Business Outlet, April 18th at the Eleuthera Business Hub in Rock Sound, with keynote speaker, the Honorable Clay Sweeting, and April 19th at Valentine's Resort and Marina, Harbor Island, with MP Sylvanus Petty giving the update on North Eleuthera and Harbor Island, and Deputy Prime Minister I. Chester Cooper delivering the keynote address. Visit tclevents.com today for registration options.
Welcome back. With me now to tell us all about the North American, Central American, and Caribbean Athletic Association, otherwise known as NACAC, and to discuss the World Relays 2024 is Mike Sands, the first Bahamian president of NACAC. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we know when we see you, there's exciting things happening in the region. I know you have to represent NACAC, but you know, I always feel like the Bahamas is doing something good when I see you. So let's dig right in. For those who may not know, what is NACAC and what is its mission?
Well, you just pretty much said it. NACAC, which is North America, Central America, and the Caribbean Athletic Association. As its name implies, we are the administrative body for the area. We refer to it as area. There are 31 member federations, or countries, if you will, that come on, 31 full-fledged members and about 7 associate members. So all in all, we have 39 members, 39 members that come under NACAC's administration. The world has been broken up into 6 areas from World Athletics. And so you have North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, which is us. Then you have South America, you have Africa, Asia, Oceania, and Europe. And so there's 6 area presidents that make up the Council of World Athletics that sits around the table to decide the course of the world sports, which is the most popular sport in the Olympic Games, athletics, track and field.
So in order to achieve your mission, what are there any other organizations you work along with throughout the year with your athletic calendar?
Well, we first of all definitely have to work with the member federations of each country. And then ultimately we report to the headquarters in Monaco, and then also our other area associations, as I just mentioned. We have continuous collaborations. And of course, the body is made up of persons from other sporting organizations. Quickly, for example, the executive council of NACAC, the vice president is from Cayman, a female, another vice president from Jamaica, the treasurer is from Barbados, and then you have council members from, you know, South America, the Caribbean, and so it runs the gambit of the area that has to be represented, and so we interface with all of those people on a continuous basis.
It's like the CARICOM of athletics, right?
It really is. It really is.
So we know that your annual calendar is usually stacked. What are some of the most recent accomplishments of NACAC?
Well, one of the things we just finished doing was completing, well, not quite complete, but our first draft of our strategic plan. We had a strategic session in Florida with the members coming together, the executive council. I'm also very, very proud of the fact that we have a gender leadership women's group, and they're very, very active. As a matter of fact, they also had a workshop in Florida. And of course, with the Caribbean Games coming up, which is our biggest junior event that we also oversee, that's taking place in Grenada the Easter weekend. And so there's a lot of stuff on the table. Then we have our development work commission, and we have our competitions commission. So we just finished the indoor season. We're getting ready for the outdoor season, but the work never stops in between.
So, you know, speaking here in the Bahamas, there's a buzz going around. World Relays are coming up again. As the president of NACAC, what significance does this event have in the overall calendar for the year?
Okay. First of all, before I go there, I want to be very, very clear that I'm not representing the LOC because that's a body unto itself. So I don't pretend to speak on behalf of the LOC, but I'll say as much as this, right? My position, I'm fortunate to be, because World Athletics is the overall responsibility, and B3A is as the host member federation, and in my position as the area president, it falls under the ambit of World Athletics, and so as a result, by appointment, I'm on the executive at the board of the LOC that helps to guide the process of the World Relays. That is going to be happening in 44 days.
Right. It's close. It's right around the corner.
And it's very, very significant.
And so, you know, in terms of the Bahamas hosting these types of events, once again, what significance does this have for our local athletes and also for the region, for NACAC?
Well, let me say this, right, and I'm glad you asked the question, and just so I can sensitize the Bahamian public to understand. First of all, it's the 4th time that we're hosting it. It's the 4th time. And that's no small feat for a country of our size. And secondly, the significance is very, very important. As I indicated, there are 44 days remaining. This World Relays is the Olympic trials for the world. I have to repeat that. It's the Olympic trials for the world. There are 16 spots available for the relay countries, 16 spots. 14 of those 16 will come from this event.
Ooh.
So if you want to go to Olympics, and like the phrase has been coined, from paradise to Paris, you can't get to Paris unless you come through paradise, right? And I think the chairman coined that phrase. But it's very, very significant to understand that to get to Paris, and you know, relays is the most exciting event in the Olympic calendar.
Yes, it is.
Those countries, and some 35, 40 countries, will be here, all vying for a spot in the World Relays May 4th and 5th, through the World Relays to get to Paris.
Who are some of the exciting countries and athletes coming out of NACAC that we might see at the World Relays?
Well, you know, we would hope and expect that the Bahamas obviously will have a team that will be featuring our top athletes. We also, as you know, we've got Jamaica. I mean, the perennial power of Jamaica. We've got Trinidad. We've got the great United States. We've got Canada. Of course, we've got Cuba. And so we've got, so all of the countries, you know, Trinidad, like I said, our area, and the big four, particularly as I mentioned, the Bahamas, Jamaica, Trinidad, United States, Canada, all of the countries are going to be coming here, okay, in 44 days to try for Olympics. So this is the Olympic trials, and I'm urging all the Bahamians, because they also expect a level of excitement. You know, the Junkanoo has made because Grifter Games and the World Relays, and so when I speak to my colleagues around the world, they're all coming here. They're coming here to watch the excitement of the event, but they're also coming here for the entertainment and the hospitality of the Bahamian people. So I want to take this opportunity to let everybody know that we have to come out in full force, purchase those tickets and those colors, because you know, we do something different, and only in the Bahamas. And we'd say it's a Bahamazing experience. So we want to give them that Bahamazing experience and let them see why it's better in the Bahamas and why they should be coming here for other sporting events.
Very well said. And you know, events like this are important for the athletes, for the athletics, for your greater strategic plan for NACAC. But really, as you mentioned, being in that stadium, it's a sense of unity. Once you're in there, people are cheering for their own countries, but still, it's a sense of unity. There's pride. There's a lot of cheering going on, lots of excitement. And I've been there. I've taken my children. I'm going to take them again this year. And it's just one of those events where, you know, people talk about wanting to do positive things in the country, and this is one of those types of events where everyone needs to come out and bring everybody with them.
Yeah, and don't forget, if as a tourism-based economy, we could not have gotten better promotional value to having the events here. So we have to look at the promotional value, because as I said, the entire world is coming to the Bahamas, right? And the fact that our tourism is now on the uprise, it doesn't hurt at all to have a positive impact such as a world event to continue to promote our beautiful destination.
They're trying to figure out the secret of our Bahamian athletes. They can be around there trying to eat some Kong pistol. Oh, don't give nobody else no Kong pistol. Save it only for the Bahamian athletes. So looking ahead, what are the future plans or aspirations for NACAC?
Well, as I said, we're working our strategic plan. We want to continue to improve our brand. We're developing pathways for our athletes after competition. Our junior program, our kids athletics, we are focusing on the kids athletics because that is the future. You have to build a foundation to get to the peak. And so we're doing a lot of focus on kids athletics and to inspire the next generation and to provide as much competition as we can, particularly throughout our area. Because what we're trying to do is that, you know, there's always a lot of performances in Europe that includes our athletes going to Europe on the European circuit, where we're working very hard on this area to see if we can develop our very own circuit where our athletes will be able to stay in the area, compete in the area, and by the same token, you know, earn a decent living, because it's now a business. It's no longer, you know, just a sport. Those professional athletes, it's now their job. So they have to look for where they can get a living, and we want to do that here in our area.
Well, we look forward to the growth of NACAC. We look forward to the growth of the Bahamian athletic community, of more athletes becoming professionals, finding a way to get their education and also do the thing they love, which is participate in athletics. I know my son, he runs around all day, so we can get him on the track. We appreciate you coming in and speaking with us. Looking forward to all the great things coming from NACAC this year. And we'll see you at Carifta, and then we'll see you at the World Relays, right?
Yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure. And again, you know, get those tickets. 44 days to go.
We're ready.
Yep.
Appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Do you have a business idea that is innovative or creative? Well, I've got some great news for you. The Grand Bahama Port Authority has launched its new Business Diversity Waiver. The Business Diversity Waiver applies to new businesses only, and all successful applicants will receive their first year business license fee at a discounted rate or free. In order to be eligible, the new business should create a minimum of 2 jobs, meet all zoning requirements, and not fall into a business category that is considered saturated or restricted, such as clothing, beauty supplies, liquor stores, or takeout restaurants, just to name a few. If your business model does fall into a saturated category, it must include a special component, something that sets it apart from the others. With a Business Diversity Waiver, we encourage you to think out of the box, using your talents and hobbies creatively to jumpstart your entrepreneurial journey today. For more information or to apply, contact us at 350-9050 or at info@gbpa.com.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
The Euro device is very affordable. It allows you to increase your internet connectivity. You are able to do away with the buffering, say goodbye to the dead spots. It gives them a much more stable connection. Their customers are able to view their digital menus. The establishment is able to stream. It allows for everyone, the customers and the business operators, to have a much more robust and stable internet connectivity.
Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're up dead early on another fantastic Friday, and we're at the mid show, and you stuck with us. Look at that. My name is Mark Daniels.
And I'm Gabrielle Gardner, hoping that you are still having a happy Friday.
Yeah, spring is in swing, everybody. I don't know if you've been seeing, like, the trees are putting out new leaves. All the insects are loving the flowers that are out there. We've been getting some rain on and off. It's been just kind of sparking new growth. So I know we got some weather this weekend. So if you got time today, put your seeds in the ground, right? And then time it. Watch the moon. 4 weeks later, they should be sprouted, ready to transplant. And, you know, Grammy them teach us these things. We move away from that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think that, but that's a great way to make use of this upcoming weather. Yeah. I was thinking, sit on your couch and watch Netflix, but this is much more practical and fruitful.
Look, you could put your seeds in the ground. Also, you could wash your car in the rain. You want to save some money? Wash your car, pull your car out in the rain, just get your ride and go for it. You'll be all right. You get a shower at the same time. That's sustainable, right?
On to our next.
So if y'all see me washing my car in the rain, don't worry, I ain't losing it. I'm saving water. But we appreciate y'all. We enjoyed that first half. And we got more coming up in our second half. We'll be discussing the impending rate increase by the National Insurance Board in our Economic Pulse segment.
And Alexis Burrows is here to tell us about Doctors Hospital's exciting launch of their newest facility. But before all that, we'll take a second look at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather at sunrise, weather-wise today we have that area of low pressure in the Gulf of Mexico moving towards the east, should impact Grand Bahama and Bimini early this afternoon and evening hours, and then move into New Providence sometime tomorrow morning before sunset, with increasing showers, thunderstorms, probably tornadic activity strong gusty winds, particularly during those heavier showers and thunderstorms. So we're asking small craft operators to remain in port over the next 36 hours as the system moves through the islands. In the marine forecast today, those winds southeasterly at 15 to 20 knots, seas 5 to 8 feet in the northwest and central Bahamas, east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet over the southeastern islands. You expect those winds start increasing in northwest and central Bahamas by late evening. And on tomorrow, those winds south to southwest at 20 to 25 knots, seas 7 to 10 feet. Those winds gusting to near gale force during those heavier showers and thunderstorms. Southeast at 15 to 25 knots, seas 6 to 9 feet over the southeastern islands. On Sunday, those winds shift northwest to north at 15 knots, seas 5 to 8 feet over the northwest Bahamas, falling light and variable seas 1 to 3 feet, but up to 8 feet over the south central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a high tide right now, 7:06 this morning. Next low tide at 1:20 this afternoon. High again this evening at 7:30. Sunset will be at 7:21 this evening. Rising more at 7:09. UV index 8. Your water temperature 76 degrees Fahrenheit, and the moon phase now moving towards the full moon. Your external look. A wet day tomorrow. We do expect some improvement in the northwest and parts of central Bahamas on Sunday as the system moves towards the southeast across into the central and southeastern islands. And so, for the remainder early part of next week, we're looking at partly sunny skies and some warm temperatures. So temperature daytime will be in the upper 70s to low 80s at daytime, at nighttime in the upper 60s. That was your up in your phone look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Davriel.
Thanks, Godfrey. Doctors Hospital is thrilled to announce the grand opening of their all-new Access Center at the Meldon Plaza. Here to tell us more about it is Alexis Burrows, Marketing Director at Doctors Hospital. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Morning, a pleasure to be here as always.
Yes, so what inspired Doctors Hospital to establish the Access Center at Meldon?
So one of the things that we've seen and one of our tenets in the last few years has been trying to make healthcare more accessible, right? So we've come up with this concept of an access center. So with Doctors Hospital Access Centers, what you're able to get into is basically any service that's not necessarily a clinic visit. So with our Meldon Plaza location, you're able to access pharmacy services and laboratory services. And so those are the two things that are offered there. You know, it's an opportunity. You think about it, there's so many healthcare facilities in that area. So it's good to have another option for pharmacy and lab services in that Palmdale area. You have so many businesses in the vicinity where, okay, this is something else. If you go into your annual and you need to get labs done, or you go and see your physician and you need to get prescription medications or anything like that, it's right in a very convenient area for people who work, you know, in the Palmdale and surrounding area.
And just for those people who are going to be coming into that area, how do you think that's going to improve their quality of life and just, like you said, access?
Well, that's the thing, right? So, you know, one of the things that we've been talking about a lot in the background, I think we're going to discuss a little bit more as we, you know, promote grand openings like this. You know, our pharmacy services, for example, we have the, you know, best price point for the top 20 prescriptions in the country. And on top of that, if you're on medical insurance, you're able to have your copay waived for your prescriptions, which means if you come into our space and you're looking to get prescription medications, you actually have no direct cost to you in that moment. You use your insurance, you don't pay the copay, your insurance pays the rest of the cost of the prescription, and you're able to walk out without anything out of pocket. So things like that, you know, not only just the physical access and availability, but it's also that affordability, that next step of making medications more accessible. We know that, you know, since the pandemic, we're seeing so many different, you know, illnesses and types of things pop up. So, you know, there's going to be a lot more need for things like this. And so making another location that's accessible, but also reminding people about the affordability that exists in our space, especially when you talk about things like pharmacy and prescription medications, you know, it's critical.
When you're talking about laboratory tests, that might seem kind of like a nebulous term to some people. So what kind of specific tests are they able to get at this facility?
Okay, so if you think about it, it's better to think about it in the context of how people end up needing labs in the first place, right? So for example, if you're doing your annual physical, there's usually a set of labs that you do along with that. So anything to do with your annual physical, you'll be able to come in and get those lab tests done. If you see your physician and, they're not sure about your blood count, you want to come in and just get your CBC, things like that. So basically any sort of test that you may need in that laboratory space, you're able to get there. So we know, for example, looking at the main hospital, we have sometimes a parking challenge, things like that. It's not always the easiest to get in and out. So you now have this location that's, again, in that, Palmdale, Centerville is kind of like the medical hub of New Providence. So having another option to go to and get labs done, it's just, it makes it more accessible. So anything that you need in the laboratory space, you'd be able to get done at that location and then run through our, full service lab.
What do you think sets Doctors Hospital Health System apart from other healthcare providers?
I think for us, it's two things. One, it is, especially as we've expanded in the past 3 to 4 years, it's the level of availability across the breadth of New Providence. And I think it's also just the beauty of working within a single health system that offers the full scope of health services. So from your primary care visit, your annual physicals, to, if you're doing a health screening for a new job, if you have an urgent or emergent issue where you can visit one of our urgent care centers like the one at Blake Road, or if you have a full-on emergency that's, you're in a potentially life-threatening circumstance, then you have our emergency room. And if you're in dire consequences where it requires admission, you have the full suite. And therefore, if you stumble into our urgent care or in our ER, you know that you're able to easily transition to other areas of the health system. Mm-hmm. And anything that you might need, even coming out of hospital, if you need prescription medications or over-the-counter medications, if you need rehab services, all of those can be found within our single health system with locations, all across New Providence, and obviously now expanding into Grand Bahama and Exuma as well.
Why was Meldon the location of choice for this new center?
So if you think about it again, Palmdale, Centerville is kind of the medical hub for New Providence. So it's very central to a lot of businesses. You look around the area, you have a number of different banks, you have a number of different insurance companies, a lot of different things like that. And you also have a lot of medical centers. So if your primary care physician or the physician that you go to, your OB is in that area, it's a very quick touch point no matter where you are. Mm-hmm. And so it's just, it's central. And I think it gives people a quick opportunity. If you work in that area and you're going into work and you need something, you can hop in a little early, or when you're leaving work, because you can hop out a little late. So we're open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., which means that, if you work in a 9 to 5, you have the option to come in before or after work to get whatever you need in that space, whether it's labs, whether it's over-the-counter medications or prescriptions.
And what are some things, I guess, the patients can look forward to just in terms of experience at the center?
So I think one thing that we always stand by, we are a JCI accredited hospital, and we're looking to expand that accreditation into all of our locations, inclusive of the access centers. So what you're getting is quality service. You're getting expertise in that space. So many of the people who work in our environment are, have a ton of experience, a wealth of knowledge and experience, and that high touch care, like we look at care as something where we're not just here to offer a service, but we want to make sure that you're comfortable. Mm-hmm. That the experience from the minute you walk in the door to the minute you walk out is one that you can feel like this feels like home. This feels like someplace that I could continue to engage with and I can come back to. And I think that kind of encapsulates what we bring to the space as an entire healthcare system. And we want to ensure that people have that sort of experience from start to finish.
Obviously, this is a huge achievement or definitely worth celebrating. Mm-hmm. Is there anything special happening for the grand opening?
Right. So what we have actually scheduled for this morning from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we have a grand opening that's happening at the Meldon Plaza. We're offering special discounts during the day. You also have a kids corner set up, so you have a bouncing castle. So if you want to come by and check out the location, you want to let your kids run around in bouncing castle for a little bit, you can. And you have an opportunity to meet the entire team that is not just operating in the day-to-day, but the team of minds that came together to make the whole thing happen. So we actually have a press conference scheduled this morning where a number of our leaders are going to be talking about, the space, why we're there, what we're looking to do as we continue to expand the health system. So if you're available today from 10 to 2 before the rain comes down, be sure to pop by the Meldon Plaza and check out Doctors Hospital's new access center featuring lab and pharmacy services at Meldon Mall.
I love it. You can catch up on those tests that you've been meaning to get, mm-hmm. and bring your kids. Let them have some free child care for a few minutes.
Exactly.
That sounds really wonderful. Congratulations to you and
Thank you
the
so much.
entire team at Doctors Hospital.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us.
Awesome. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station, open the app, scan the pump's QR code, select your payment amount, and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
Secure your spot at the new Eleuthera and Harbor Island Business Outlet, April 18th at the Eleuthera Business Hub in Rock Sound, with keynote speaker, the Honorable Clay Sweeting. And April 19th at Valentine's Resort and Marina, Harbor Island, with MP Sylvanus Petty giving the update on North Eleuthera and Harbor Island, and Deputy Prime Minister I. Chester Cooper delivering the keynote address. Visit tclevents.com today for registration options.
Here are 3 young people who stopped attending high school and got disengaged in their educational journey due to the pandemic. Today, they are proudly taking their walk all over the place because they took advantage of BTVI's Smart Start initiative. All high school students in New Providence and the Family Islands can participate in free hands-on learning to improve employability. Learn basic literacy and numeracy skills and earn a BTVI certificate in automotive mechanics, beauty and construction trades, or fashion in only 14 weeks for full-time participants or 24 weeks for part-time. Don't count yourself out. Do what they did and enroll today. Email smartstart@btvi.edu.ds or call 502-6300 so you can take your walk anywhere in life.
One thing, two things. Blue thing, old things. Things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Alive Business SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Alive Business at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Welcome back. On July 1st, there will be a rate increase at the National Insurance Board. With me now to discuss this further is Karlos Mackey. He is the Executive Director and President of MoneyMax and President of Prime Financing. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise, Brother Karlos.
Mark, as always, a pleasure. Thank you also for having me this morning.
Yeah, man, that rate increase thing got me stumbling over my words, man.
I think us both.
The cost of living gets so high, the rich and poor start to cry. So tell me, what impact do you foresee the impending NIB rate increase having on businesses in the Bahamas?
So I think anytime that there are increases to the cost that businesses have to bear, those costs have to be dealt with in one of two ways for the most part, right? Either your margins are going to shrink, and some businesses may be prepared to accept that if they're in high margin industries, but for businesses that aren't in high margin industries, most times that will mean those costs have to be passed on to consumers, right? So if you're running a business and you have across the board a particular level of increase, most businesses will try to see where they can
which we call pass that on to customers. But if it is such that the increase is in a particular area, as it is going to be in this area, you may find some businesses try to cut a bit of cost to try to balance it off. Where those costs will be cut will be different, obviously, for different businesses in different sectors. And then, like I said previously, you will have some businesses that simply say, you know what, our margins are good enough. For now, we'll just leave things as they are.
How crucial is it for the government to give ample notice to businesses when a rate increase like this is impending?
So most businesses, if you're prudently planning your business, you try to make sure that you have what you would call an annual budget. For the most part, I would like to believe, and I think that I stand to be corrected, but I would say the majority of businesses run a calendar year fiscal budget because they run their fiscal year from January to December. So the government obviously runs its fiscal year from July to June, which is, you know, as we would call it a kind of a summer budgeting thing. For a lot of businesses, those kinds of changes that go along with the government's fiscal budget as opposed to their fiscal year could be what we would call a bit troubling because you have a mid-year situation that you didn't plan for. There are things that are happening all the time in business. So knowing that most businesses run what you would consider to be a fiscal year budget, it would be better to have that notice with ample time, not 6 months before the government's new budget kicks in, but probably 6 months or a year before the fiscal year starts, which again for most businesses is going to be January.
So with the uncertainty of the actual amount of the increase, what type of decisions are businesses considering and what are they planning for?
So again, uncertainty on the policy side is going to lead to uncertainty in business, right? You have a lot of to be decided. That's unfortunately going to happen. You should not seek to introduce chaos, and I don't think that the government intends to introduce what I would call angst and uncertainty and chaos. But the reality is there will be, in most likely, unintended consequences from not being able to understand exactly ahead of time what is actually going to happen with these rate increases. There really needs to be a better, what I would call, plan around the way that we handle government fees and taxes, because no matter how you want to look at it, NIB is a tax, right? It's a tax that has what you would consider to be a worker benefit, but at the end of the day, it is a tax. So what would be better for us is to really look at comprehensive tax policy, because if you can actually plan as a business person or as an individual what your tax burden is likely to be like over 5 or 10 years, that allows you to make what you would call more productive medium to long-term decisions, as opposed to knee-jerk reactions that in a lot of respects could be harmful both to you and in aggregate to the economy, because everybody is simply trying to deal with something that kind of, you know, knocked them a little off kilter, not knowing what the real situation is going to be. Maybe next year again, do I have to deal with something like this again? So what I would call a much more robust tax plan policy would be better for the country, as opposed to these individual rate hikes over here, over there, that have lots of unintended consequences.
What do you think is some of the more immediate and short-term impacts to our economic stability and growth once these new rates kick in?
So I do believe that NIB is what we would call a special kind of tax, again, because it is supposed to actually go towards helping persons be able to handle their, what we would call retirement, their retirement spending. It should be what we would call an adjunct. I wouldn't call it your primary retirement plan. It should be an adjunct. For some people, unfortunately, it is their primary retirement plan. So increasing NIB is actually beneficial to us long term, because if the fund were to run out in 2028 as was projected, that would be chaos. Right. So it would be fiscally irresponsible for the government not to take action. That being said, taking action is one thing, and I applaud the government for taking prudent action, which is to do the politically unsavory thing in this environment, which is to raise the rate. The issue is there needs to be a level of predictability around what is it that the rates are, essentially what schedule are the rates going to be raised on, but also from a general tax plan, what is the top line rate that we expect? What are we planning for as a company? Because as a country, excuse me, because if my company and I as an individual know that 10 years from now, the top level VAT is going to be this, the top level customs duty rates is going to be this, the top level NIB rates are going to be this, now I can plan things a bit better from a medium to long-term perspective. That's really what you want in an economy, because that also then constrains the government to be more fiscally accountable. And that's what I think a lot of people would be, particularly business, would be definitely much more pleased about if you can have government itself saying, this is what our medium to long-term strategy is, because we're prepared to be fiscally accountable. Therefore, you along with us can plan for how we grow this economy, as you say, in a sustainable way.
You mentioned it's been out in the public that the NIB funds are predicted to be depleted by 2028. What does that look like? And do you think that the rate increase would be sufficient to prevent that from happening?
So again, not knowing what the full rate increase is and what the full rate increase schedule is, again, leads us to this place where there is, unfortunately, angst and consternation. What I would say is that I don't expect any responsible government, and I do believe that this government is extremely responsible. I don't expect any responsible government not to do what is necessary to make sure that that 2028 deadline is something that gets hopefully not just pushed into the future, but something that becomes eliminated altogether. I would like for us to be at a place where our fiscal planning around government expenditure and around how persons plan for their own retirements, how they plan for their own illnesses, actually gets to a place where NIB is, again, surplus.
Right.
It's not the primary, but it's surplus, it's adjunct. I think, again, this goes back to tax policy, it goes back to spending policy, and that's really where we have to get to as a country, where as individuals, as companies, and also our government are expected, and we all hold each other accountable to have that level of what we would call responsibility and prudence in how we handle our financial affairs.
So as we do approach the rate increase coming in July, and in the light of other economic challenges that businesses may face coming out of COVID, what are some of the strategies that business owners can take to maybe kind of absorb some of these costs and manage this rate increase?
So again, without knowing exactitudes of what is coming, it is hard to say where you're necessarily going to cut costs. I think that the attitude of the Bahamian entrepreneur, of the Bahamian business person, has to not necessarily be simply about cutting costs. It has to be about cost containment, but it also has to be about how do I innovate to increase my top line? How do I get more revenue in the till? How do I make sure that the services and products that I provide can be considered what I would call either generating a greater premium, or how can they be considered as valuable by more persons? So either I'm going to increase the value of my product, not simply inflate my cost, but increase the value of my product such that people are prepared to pay a higher cost, or how do I increase the attractiveness of what I'm doing to more persons, or how do I introduce something new to the market so that I have a new thing to sell, and that then increases my top line. So I think that the goal has to be about, yes, in the places where I can contain costs, let me contain costs, but what is there from an innovation perspective that either allows me to bring something new, either allows my service or product to be a premium and I can therefore charge a premium that's justified, or how do I allow myself to become such that I can appeal to a greater customer base?
Always a great conversation with you when you come on the show. It's always some difficult topic that's
Always.
outside of my realm as a botanist, but you have a way of breaking it down
Listen.
and making us all understand what's been going on.
The Bahamas is the place where God lives, but we have to conduct ourselves as though we're God's people in the way that we approach our problems.
I appreciate that, and we always appreciate you being on the show, Brother Mackey. Thanks again for being on this morning, and we'll talk again before July because I need you to run by those strategies again.
Indeed, indeed.
Appreciate you as always. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back. African Things is your one-stop shop for everything African. Make a bold fashion statement with vibrant colors and intricate patterns inspired by the beauty of Africa. Find trendy contemporary looks for every occasion and enjoy custom tailoring. Shop jewelry, purses, art, cosmetics, and much more. African Things is located in the Dugard Plaza, Palmdale, next to McDonald's. Open Tuesday to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come get your African Things.
Secure your spot at the new Eleuthera and Harbor Island Business Outlet, April 18th at the Eleuthera Business Hub in Rock Sound, with keynote speaker, the Honorable Clay Sweeting. And April 19th at Valentine's Resort and Marina, Harbor Island, with MP Sylvanus Petty giving the update on North Eleuthera and Harbor Island, and Deputy Prime Minister I. Chester Cooper delivering the keynote address. Visit tclevents.com today for registration options.
It has been another great Friday here on Bahamas at Sunrise. We've had some really exciting conversations about just developments, I guess, in the field of medicine and just things that are happening within the country. I think this is a perfect way to kind of sail you into your weekend, which might be a little slow if you're in Nassau due to some weather that we anticipate.
Be ready to hunker down, everybody. It's going to be a wet weekend, but enjoy it for what it is. There's a couple of weddings this weekend. There are some folks who are burying loved ones this weekend. And on that note, make sure hug and kiss your mommy if you still got it in your life. Hug and kiss your daddy. Hug and kiss your loved ones. Condolences go to everybody who they're mourning a loss. Thinking of my boy Donovan Campbell and the Campbell family. He lost his mom recently. And so my brother holds strong. And I say this for you, everybody, hug and kiss your mommy if you got it in you. We love y'all. See y'all Monday.
See you Monday.